From Greg Popovich's pop-sized paycheck to the kind of bucks Nick Nurse is making, here are NBA coaches that earn more than players. Let's start with the highest-paid NBA coach right now. That's Greg Popovich, aka Coach Pop, of the San Antonio Spurs. This dude's salary is a whopping $11.5 million. With 5 NBA titles and an impressive 22 consecutive playoff appearances under his belt, he's kind of a big deal. It seems he's earning more than the average player. For someone who isn't even out on the field, that might strike you as a weirdly huge paycheck. But let's dissect this a bit, given that this guy's the brain of the operation. Popovich has been with the Spurs since 1988, working his way up the ranks and finally taking the reins as the head coach in 1996. Since then, it's been nothing but success for the Spurs. Coach Pop has remained relevant throughout. His secret sauce? The ability to build both offensive and defensive systems that maximize the strengths of whatever roster he's working with. He's the guy that can turn role players into all-stars. So does he deserve his hefty paycheck? I mean, he turned the Spurs into a dynasty. It's safe to say Coach Pop is worth every single penny of that $11.5 million salary. But let's back up for a second and put things into perspective. We're kicking it off with some averages. Your typical NBA player, they're raking in about $9.6 million for the 2022-23 season. Yeah, you heard that right. But let's flip to the other side. Our strategists, the puppet masters, the coaches. Their average paycheck, somewhere between $2 to $4 million. So there's a huge gap. Some coaches are bringing home way more than the average. But before I get into those, do you know what the top paid NBA players are raking in? We've got Curry at the top with $48 million, but closely followed by Russell Westbrook, pulling in $47 million. The legendary LeBron James and Kevin Durant are each bagging $44 million. And Bradley Beal scores a cool $43 million. These guys are stacking up the Benjamins for real. So now that you've some idea of what the NBA world paychecks look like, let's jump into other top-paid NBA coaches and how their pay compares to our beloved players. Steve Kerr, with his $9.5 million paycheck, is the second highest-paid coach in the NBA after Greg Popovich. Kerr's legacy, both as a player and as a coach, certainly justifies his position. The man's no stranger to victory. He's a 9-time NBA champion, with 5 titles earned during his playing career. 3 of these were won playing alongside the legendary Michael Jordan, and another 2 under Popovich at the San Antonio Spurs. That's a pretty star-studded lineup right there. Post-retirement in 2003, Kerr served in broadcast roles and even acted as the president and GM of the Phoenix Suns before becoming the head coach of the Golden State Warriors in 2014. He signed an initial deal worth $25 million over 5 years, which is about half of what he's currently earning. But let's be clear here. Steve has entirely transformed the Warriors. He's done this by introducing his motion offense philosophy, which is based on the principles of the great coaches he played under during his career, Popovich and Phil Jackson. Under Kerr's leadership, the Warriors have gone on to win 4 NBA championships. This, combined with Kerr's consistent performance in the playoffs, easily places him among the greatest coaches of all time. Still, when you compare Kerr's salary to that of top NBA players, he's earning less. Like Steph Curry earns over 5 times what he does. So, does Steve deserve his $9.5 million salary? Given his track record, the championships he's brought to the Warriors, and his transformative impact on the team, it's safe to say that, yes, he does. Kerr's golden touch is worth every penny. Occupying the 3rd spot among the highest-paid NBA coaches is Doc Rivers of the Philadelphia 76ers, who takes home $8.5 million. This guy is a former All-Star with a solid professional playing career with teams like the Hawks, the Clippers, the Knicks, and the Spurs. He started coaching with the Orlando Magic in 1999 and was awarded Coach of the Year in his inaugural season, leading the Magic extremely close to a playoff spot. He then moved to Boston, where he secured a championship in 2008 before stints with the Clippers and currently the 76ers. Clearly, his reputation and experience make him one of the most sought-after names in the NBA, earning him a spot among the highest-paid coaches. He's not without criticism, though. Many fans point out a recurring pattern in Rivers' coaching career. His teams keep blowing double-digit leads. When comparing Rivers' salary to the top NBA players, he's on the lower end. Joel Embiid, the 76ers' highest earner, makes around 4 times Rivers' salary. The situation is not all rosy for Rivers. The Philadelphia 76ers fans have expressed their displeasure at Rivers being the third highest-paid NBA coach. Despite his earlier successes, some believe Rivers is still riding the wave of his 2008 title, which came when Tom Thibodeau, his assistant, put together one of the league's best defenses. Rivers has blown more 3-1 leads in the playoffs than any other coach. His decision-making, especially regarding rotations, has fans pissed. Critics keep saying his tactics are always rescued by the elite talent he has in his team, and even then, he hasn't had much success. So does he deserve $8.5 million? I don't know about that. Now let's get into Erik Spoelstra's bank vault, who's currently earning $8.5 million as the coach of the Miami Heat. From boxing shoes at a Nike warehouse to making history as the first Asian head coach in American sports, Erik's come a long way. Like, his dude was a video coordinator with the Miami Heat. A couple of years later, he became an assistant coach with the team until like 2008 when he was named the head coach. His story is one for the books. As the first Asian American head coach, Spoelstra led the Heat to 4 consecutive NBA Finals appearances from 2011 to 2014, claiming victory in 2 of those. His knack for excellent defensive strategy stands out, making him one of the best defensive coaches in the NBA. His place among the highest-paid coaches is justified. And even the NBA general managers know it. I mean, they did vote him the league's best coach for 2 consecutive years. Despite not winning the 2020 NBA Finals against LeBron's Lakers, his 5th appearance solidified his status as one of the league's top coaches. Now, the man stuck with the Miami Heat even after LeBron left. He must be doing something right, because Pat Riley, the big boss, chose him over the superstar player. That's a major endorsement. Spoelstra has this crazy ability to turn underdogs into ballin' players. He's like a talent wizard or something. Plus, he's a master tactician. Now let's talk money. Compared to NBA superstars, Spoelstra's salary isn't a fair fight. But being a coach is a whole different ballgame. Some might argue that Spoelstra's accomplishments speak for themselves and justify his fat paycheck. So, does Spoelstra deserve his $8.5 million salary? Well, with his impressive track record, talent spotting skills, trailblazing role as the first Asian American head coach, and the mad respect he gets from everyone, it's hard to argue against it. Spoelstra is worth every damn penny. Mike Budenholzer, better known as Coach Bud, is currently commanding an $8 million pay as coach Milwaukee Bucks coach. He's been Greg Popovich's assistant coach for 17 years, contributing to 4 championship-winning seasons. He coached the Hawks before the Bucks, making a huge impact on the team's culture and leading them to their second-ever championship in 2021. His coaching competence has been acknowledged, with NBA Coach of the Year titles in 2015 and 2019. But he's faced some criticism for underachieving in the playoffs and failing to make crucial adjustments during postseason play. That being said, the Bucks clinched their first NBA championship in 50 years under his coaching, and that can't be overlooked. When you compare Budenholzer's salary to his NBA players, it's pretty low. Antetokounmpo, the Bucks' highest-paid player, earns almost 4 times his coach's pay. Given Coach Bud's contributions, many would argue that his salary is too low. But given his team's underperformance, is $8 million that undeserved? Rounding out our list is Nick Nurse of the Raptors, who also earns $8 million per year. Now, Nurse lacks the professional playing experience of these other fancy coaches, but his talent as a defensive strategist has led him to be recognized as one of the finest coaches in the league. He got into coaching right after his college playing career in 1989. He didn't stop there. Nurse became the youngest college basketball head coach at the tender age of 23 for Grandview University. He coached in England for 11 years and entered the NBA circuit as an assistant coach with the Raptors, becoming head coach in just 6 years. He took the Raptors to an NBA championship in his first season. Just a few years ago, no one knew this guy. Nurse is known for his ability to deploy various defensive strategies to nullify the opposition's top scorers with a high success rate. He's also got an eye for identifying and nurturing young and overlooked talents. He may fall significantly short of the top player salaries, but in the coaching circle, he deserves his top-ranking spot. So there you have it, folks. From the kind of bucks Nick Nurse is making to Greg Popovich's pop-sized paycheck. Those were NBA coaches that earn more than players.